Hello, and welcome to episode 313 of The Joy of Coding. My name is Mike Conley. It's so good to have you here. It's episode 313. That's a prime number. I didn't know that off the top of my head. I looked it up. So good to have you here. Let's hack on some Firefox stuff. Why more preamble? Let's get into it. So, is January 25th, 2023, episode 313. A reminder, no plan survives breakfast. I don't exactly know how today's going to go. I kind of have a sense of what I want to work on today. Who knows how that's going to go? Might get sidelined, sidetracked, blocked, or we might have great success. We'll see. We're capturing software development in the raw here. That's the first thing. Second thing, the agenda that we're looking at is available to you depending on where you're watching it. It will be in the stream. You're going to be finding it in a slightly different place. So if you're watching this on YouTube or diode.zone, it's going to be in the video description down below. If you're watching this on Air Mozilla, check the details section on this side. And if you're this side, yeah, that side. And if you're watching this on Twitch, down in like the channel details, I think there should be a link to the agenda, and you can sort of follow along as I start making changes to the agenda. So what are we doing today? We're getting back to those Windows jump lists. We skipped it last week because I was at home last week, tried to connect over the VPN to the Windows 10 machine that I have here in the office, and for some reason the network latency was just so bad whenever I tried to do that. I tried it again later that day and it was fine, so I don't know. I wonder if maybe it's only whenever I'm using OBS and streaming that there's some difficulty there. I guess that's possible. But here in the office, when I'm like just connecting to it over the local network, it's fine. And so that's what we're going to work on today. We had gotten to the point 2 episodes ago, back in episode 311, where we had gotten the jump list, all the stuff that we've been working on to build, and we were writing to the jump list off of the main thread, but nothing was showing up. And so I'm hoping during this episode we can get something to show up. That would be a really nice way of ending this episode. Now, I want to sort of temper your expectations, though. We might be chasing our tails for the next hour and a half. But that's okay. That's real software development. I don't know how this is going to go. I don't know the answer of what's going on. But we're going to find out. So stay tuned. All right. Let's start by connecting to, hold on, my Windows 10 machine over here. Hey, Denshub. Oh yeah, Hogwarts Mystery Walkthroughs. I was doing a test the other day where I was testing the behavior of custom mouse cursors, and this was the website I was using. What am I doing here? I'm going to close all these other tabs. Don't need them. Not now. Already done that. And what else do I want to do? This is the build that we've got. It's a debug build, and what we're finding, if you recall from last time, is when we try and populate the jump list tasks using this construction, we get a NS exception, or was it an NS error failure? And we attached a debugger and we started to walk through it. Now, let me give you a little bit of an update because I couldn't resist. After the episode ended, I've been trying not to work on this whenever I'm not streaming, but I did one thing, and that's for each of the calls that we make to various Win32 APIs, most of the time they will return a result value called an H result. And sometimes I was, setting those, and sometimes I was just like throwing them away. There was no left value. It was just like I was calling the function. And so what I've done in the most recent change is I've just made it so that I set the H result value for every single Win32 call that I'm doing. And I want to see where we're failing. That's what I'm hoping to do right now. And I've got my trusty Visual Studio debugger here, and we can attach to this process. I need to remember what the process ID is. 23016, so we're going to attach to that one. Oh, yes. I think I had tested this. And now, do we have a breakpoint set? Breakpoints. Yes, do populate jump list. We have a breakpoint set here. Okay, let us now call our special function that we added. Build is very slow because it's a debug build. All right, and here we go. Are we there? Yes, we are there. Let's start stepping through. So the first thing we do is make sure that we're on the main thread. We're actually, or we're going to make sure we're not on the main thread. We are at the point now where we're running on the background thread that's going to talk directly to the Win32 API. And we're going to be, we were handed, a promise was transferred to us to resolve. And then we set up this like default return value of NS error unexpected to use in the event that like, something goes wrong, we need to reject. All right, we set up our error handler in the event that we suddenly exit. That's the pattern I've been using here for promises. It's like we set the return value and then we return, and then the exit handler will do the work of rejecting. Okay. So we do have an M jump list manager. That's the case, and we check to see whether or not we're building the list. We're not. A lot of this stuff is like, holdovers from the old way we do this, because we haven't removed the old API endpoint yet, so there's still some cleanup to do. But let's keep her going. So we cast our M jump list manager to, this is like a Microsoft specific interface called iCustomDestinationList, and it looks like that cast went okay. Although, wait, destination list operator returned false. The not operator returned false. I see. So it's it's truthy, and we can actually take a look at this thing. The jump list manager. It's just a raw pointer to something, but we successfully cast it, I guess. And then we call this jump list manager begin list, and we pass it an empty obj array. Now, what is the result? Huh. So that didn't go so well. Calling begin list, because I think whenever an H result is successful, I think it's 0 is what we're looking for. Let's look at an example of an H result succeeding. So let's create this instant. We set the HR, and like that's a success. So I think we found our first failure. There may be others, but this seems to be the big problem here, is that we called the begin list, and we passed some args, and it did not like that. So whatever we were passing to it, it seemed to hate it. So let's find out what we normally call this with, begin list. And maybe we'll start as well by trying to find the documentation for this thing. Sorry, this is a jump list manager, iCustomDestinationList, begin list method. There are supposed to be 3 arguments. 2 of them are out params, 1 of them is an in param. How many am I passing here? 1? Presuming this macro isn't unfolding to 2 other arguments. Maybe that's my problem. I'm passing the wrong. I'm surprised it would have compiled if I'm passing the wrong number of arguments. What is this? IID. Used to retrieve an interface pointer, supplying the IID value of the request interface automatically. So I pass in the IID. I want a pointer. I wonder if I'm failing to pass in this actual, like, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Like, how do we normally call begin list? Begin list. See, that's interesting because normally I only pass in two things, and I say an object array. Now this is slightly different. Where am I? Get max list of items. Is there another place where we might call begin list? Here. Yeah, this is in do init list build list. I pass in some max number of items. Is it because I'm passing 0? The pointer returns the current user saying the number of recent items to display. The default value is 10. Maybe that's my problem. I'm setting it. I'm passing 0. I'm telling it, hey, show a maximum of 0, and I wonder if that's why it's failing on me. What's this value normally? M max items is normally, well, we init it to 0. What? Get max list items. This is, oh, sorry, it's an out param. Right. This is supposed to be getting us the number of recent items. So it's an out param. We're getting the results. And instead of passing it an out param, I'm just passing it 0. That's maybe my problem, is instead of passing it a pointer to a number for it to fill in, I'm passing it just 0. Yeah, that's wrong. That's the mistake, or a mistake that I have made. So we have spotted an issue. This is in jump list builder. Begin list. So what we're gonna do here is we're just gonna say, what's max items? I actually do not care what the max items is, like how many there are just yet. Although maybe we could resolve with this value. Maybe that would be interesting. Although it does look like we return with URIs to remove. I'm going to need to understand how that works. Return removes are from manually removed items. This does not return items which are removed. Manually removed items. So if the user, can the user remove, like, if I like right click, remove from this list. So presumably when we're gonna get back the list of things that the user had removed, not the items that had been there and then we have removed by repopulating the list, but the items that the user chose to remove. That's interesting and worth knowing. But for now, let us just use a uint32t max items equals 0, and we're going to pass that in and see what it thinks of that. So we're going to go ahead and detach, close, and then build. Smurfd confirms that hresult0 is success, which is similar to NSOK inside of like the Mozilla XPCOM world of results. An NS result of 0 means NSOK. there is a sort of I'm going to put it in air quotes, a nice similarity between like older Win32 APIs, like COM stuff, and the XP-COM that powers Gecko and Firefox. Everyone thought that COM was going to take over the world. And it's still around. Like, COM is how you talk to Windows in some cases. It's going to be a while before Microsoft can excise that. Maybe never. I mean, we've been trying to slowly but surely de-XP-COM Gecko and parts of Firefox, where, you know, it's not necessary to have things all be XP-COM components. The primary advantage of creating an XP-COM component is to make it easier to call into JavaScript from native code. But going the other way around, calling into native code from JavaScript, you can use a mechanism that we have now called WebIDL to do that. And there are other ways of signaling to JavaScript that something has occurred in native code using like events and whatnot. But if you ever need to call into JavaScript, XP-COM is currently the only way of doing it. Wow, this build's taken a while. Let's go, machine. Might be time for a new computer soon. Let's see. What else do I want to think about here? How to make the above testable. I want to examine the existing tests. There are existing tests for the jump lists. And I want to see how they work, because I really want, if we can get populate jump list working, this is the next step, is let's write some automated tests. We also need to implement clear jump list, but it'd be, and maybe that should take precedent, and then but I do want to examine the other tests just to sort of give me ideas on how to make everything testable. And then, if the above works, then we can start like tearing down all of the old API, I think, in a separate commit. We should like fold together some of the changes we've already made and, you know, just start tearing some stuff out. That'll be very satisfying. And then we update Windows Jump List to use the new API. And then, yeah, we're off to the races. What is going on here? What's happening? My CPUs are not doing much. Details. Windows. Yeah, like, I'm not CPU bound. What's going on? Oh, there it is. Idle process is happening. Am I waiting on like a lock? What's happening? Some Python is running. There we go. All right, well, that took a while. Smurfy asks, can you in Windows, as in star nix, choose how many cores the build uses, like J8? I believe so. I believe you can pass... if you can't pass that to mock build... Oh, yeah. Concurrent number of jobs to run. Yes, you can use -J. And by default, it will use the number of logical cores, I think. Am I out of memory? Good question. Performance, memory. I've got like a lot of memory left. So I don't know what the deal was there. I am going to reclaim some memory and CPU by suspending a VM that I've got running. That might help a little bit. All right, so we've got our debug build here. Let's do it. We gotta run through all these steps to get us into the right conditions for running our test, our manual test, and then yeah, it's automated test time. In fact, while we're waiting for that to get itself sorted, let's take a look at what manual test or automated testing already exists. Ooh, there are docs in here? Not really. Block list docs. Well, that's good. With the DLL block list. Tests. Unit. Windows alert service. There are no other tests? Jump list. Tests under widget. Oh, okay. But we started to disable this test on Windows 10. Why is that? Because for frequent failures. So removing all this stuff is probably a good idea, just so that hopefully we can make this test more reliable. It was disabled like 6 months ago. Oh. Yeah, it still fails periodically on Win 7. Okay, and what does this thing do? Jump list items. Okay, hang on. Let's switch topics for a brief second because I want to test this out. Nope, that's not what I wanted. I wanted this. Okay, now in our history, I should be able to get this. Look! And then it crashed. But look, did you see? It was there. It was there. But it crashed. But that's okay. That's okay. We can figure that out. Crashes I can investigate, but we saw a thing show up. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Finally, it's taken us like months to get here. Now, granted, like if you're thinking, holy smokes, is this how long it takes to work on a feature for Mozilla Firefox? You have to remember that I've only been doing this really during this stream. And so if you sum up the number of hours I've worked on this, it's about 2 or 3 days. And that's not bad. 2 or 3 work days, modulo like, you know, being distracted by other things. But, and yeah, that's pretty realistic for what we're trying to do here, because a lot of it's been exploratory. You know, it's not like I came in knowing exactly how to do stuff. We came in with a completely different plan at the start of this. And I think we've come up with an approach that is better. Yeah, test. I'm going to say like, hello world, exclamation mark. Are you ready? Enter. Okay. Hello world. Here's Johnny. And then crash. But we had a thing show up. I think that's worthy of some sound effects. Let's go. If you don't want sound effects, you're going to want to turn down your headphones or speakers right now. Here we go.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
What happened?
How long have we been on this rock? 5 weeks? 2 days? Help me to recollect.
All right, that's pretty good. So we have a crash. That's great. I can work with that. So let's start looking at what's going on here. we'll start by taking a look at the stack that shows up in here. An assertion failure. We're failing an assertion in do populate jump list in this lambda at 891. Jump list builder 891. So right here, where populate jump list. Static move promise. In calling maybe reject, I'm failing. Promise ends up being null. That's the problem. Promise is null. Now, why is that? It's possible it's because I resolved it. Yeah, I resolved. And what I need to do is what I need to do is I need to disable the error handler. Because when you do make scope exit, the way that works is as soon as you exit the scope, you'll run that function unless you disable the thing. You want to disable this error handler. And the way you do that is there's a function you can call on it. Scope exit, it's release. Yeah. Scope exit. We're going to call release. And that thing is called error handler. This, I think, should fix our crash. Okay, while we're waiting for that to build, because that might take forever again, let's take a look at this test again. So the way this thing works is it looks like it's... Remember that the old implementation, the one that we're trying to replace, one of the problems with it is that it is... it's exposing way too much information to the consumer of this API. It's basically passing through the Win32 API for creating jump lists to JavaScript. And so it's this very complex, like, create different types of objects and whatnot, and then we, it's very XP-commy. And, it's an artifact of its time. Maybe that made sense when this was first landed, which I think was back in, like, early 2010s, maybe before that. And so, yeah, it creates a couple of different things, some basic items. It makes sure that you can call equals. There are, like, a way of, like, using equals. So, like, this test I don't think we'd care about because we don't create these things anymore. I don't know if this test makes sense. I'm actually more interested in whenever it actually, like, calls into some of these populate methods, because right now it's just like finalize, shortcuts, test jump list. Okay, here we go. Create a builder. And then we create our jump list. We add some items. We commit it. We wait for this to resolve. Delete active list. I need to remember what that means. We remove items. Maybe it means like we get rid of everything. We've cleared it. And then removed. That's the out param. Add list to build custom list, and we add items. Commit list. So we don't actually, we just make sure that this doesn't throw, it looks like. I wonder what we should do. Is there a way of exposing some testing methods for interrogating the API, like asking Windows, okay, well, what's in your jump list? Show me what's in your jump list. Just like dump it out. That might be easiest. I do think it makes sense whenever we populate the jump list that any removed items will want to resolve with that. I don't know if you can actually... What kind of items can you remove? Can I, like, remove a task? No. I can remove custom things. So I think what we might want is for the... populate jump list custom promise to resolve with the things that were removed. Is this already off main thread? We can maybe just use that. We don't need to implement it again. The deleting. Okay, so my hope is that this doesn't crash. We're going to run that again and hopefully it doesn't crash. Now, while we're waiting for this, I have a quick question. Is it possible to test the remove case? Begin list, delete list, get removed destinations. Not really, eh? Custom destination list. How do we simulate removing things for testing? Part of me wonders whether or not it's worth trying to like mock out the Windows part. It really depends on what it exposes to us, right? Like, custom destination list and jumps manager, jump list. Nope. What is that? Jump list managers, agile. It's an MS-COM agile reference. Ooh. Jump list manager being the custom destination list. Custom destination list. So custom destination list doesn't really allow us give us the ability to She's going to have been removed from the user. Can be removed through user action. Huh. I don't know if we'd be able to test that. What was this testing? I want show me actual tests. Add notepad calculator test example. Let's look at this under C#. Oh my goodness. Notepad session. Okay, notepad. I wonder. Windows driver. That seems to be kind of like the important part. That's interesting. This is clicking on the type here to search input, which is here. Find element by absolute XPath. Taskbar, class name, button. We don't use this anywhere, do we? No. Oh, sorry. I haven't really been speaking much. I've been thinking a lot. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for a way. I'm trying to think of how we might write automated tests for this thing, this jump list thing, which this is an interesting kind of scenario because half of what we're trying to test is outside of our realm of control. I can't I cannot make changes to this interface. I can't like the iCustom destination list, and I shouldn't be testing Windows. What I need to be doing is testing how we talk to Windows, which makes me wonder if what I really need is a way of mocking out this API. Oh, that's annoying. I might want to talk with some Windows experts on what to do here. Now, whenever I mock out the Win32 stuff, what it doesn't do is catch us if we use the Win32 API, this custom destination list API, incorrectly. Because we implement the mock or whatever this thing is going to be, you almost want to listen to it and do the stuff that we do in JavaScript sometimes, where we spy on things. Do we have spying mechanisms? It's scary to spy on native C++ things. There's some C++ code that does this. I want to create a new test functionality of my method. Unfortunately, other classes, an external library and its methods are not declared virtual, so I can't inherit the methods and stub them out. So experience with Mockito. I can soon find equivalent in C++. I'm using a Google test framework, GTest. Is there an alternative to spies? What's a good way of restructuring my code? And what this person did is we implement something called other method adapter. Now I use a pointer to other method adapter in my class instead of other class. I see. So we could just build out something in C++ and pass that in rather than this. If ultimately I think what we want to do is have this custom destination list thing be what we mock out if we do this. The adapter. And you make it upon construction, you can pass one or the other. Either a pointer to the Okay. Okay. I need to talk to some like Windows people to see how practical that is. But in the meantime, I did want to test to see whether or not we've fixed our crash. That's a thing we can do right now. I have high confidence that we've fixed the crash. Hello, world. Yep, still alive. Hello, world. Now, what's this gonna do whenever I... Oh, yeah, it runs the executable. Nice. Cool, cool. And then if I go like, hello, world again. There it is. All right. Looking good, gang. Let's commit this. This seems important. Like we've reached a milestone. Eyes starting to twitch. That's how you know we're getting into the good stuff. Okay. So what do I want to do first? Let's take a look at this this other API endpoint, the delete active list. How does that work? Can we just keep that as is? How does that work? So let's delete active list. Oh, did I make this off main thread? Do delete active list, or was it already? Yeah, I think this was something we had done earlier. Made this async. We made it off main thread. So that's good. So that work's already done. Nice. And the way it works is just delete list. Okay. Okay, I think we can keep that. That's good. I might want to rename it to like clear list or something. But for now, I'm okay with that. What I think I want to do now, though, is get any removed items out. That is the other kind of important part, that we need to resolve this promise. With something else. Custom. I should also like test this thing. Populate jump list. So many questions. Promise. What I want to resolve it with is probably just the list of URLs. And how, remind me again how that works. It's like removed items. We were looking at this before. It's when you begin list, we get out the maximum items. Yeah, the out param from begin list. Which I guess is optional. What were we? URIs to remove. Begin the list. The URIs to remove. The opt array contains it? I'm still confused because, like, this looks to me like it takes 3 arguments and we're only passing 2. Unless somehow this is doing, I was doing this before. This returns an IID. Retrieve the interface pointer, supplying the ID automatically based on the type. This voids common code error, checking the type of the passive compile time. Return a common. Common syntax and methods of retrieving an interface pointer includes 2 parameters: an in parameter, the ref ID, and an out parameter to receive the interface pointer. Oh, it does return. I think it yeah, I think we're getting both. This, then this. It's doing both at the same time. That's what's going on. So this is our removed items. So here's our removed items. And remove icon cache and jump list shortcut stuff. Where's that run? Is that on? Not on the main thread. Remove, do multiple things to avoid necessary execution. We're gonna go back to what we were doing here. Let's. I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a lot. URIs to remove. That came from. We're gonna construct this. I think this is a good idea still, and then we're gonna do that. That's the right call. And then we're also going to, I think we can get rid of this. That's fine. We can get rid of that. It's not helpful. When things go well, we're gonna resolve with the list of URLs. Standard move, promise. We're going to say URIs to remove equals, we're going to do the same thing. Standard move, URIs to remove. And then promise maybe resolve. URIs to remove. Now that only makes sense whenever the type of the category type is custom, I think, right? Yeah. User can't remove those things. So I think what we want to do is also include the category type. A category. And then we're going to say if we're doing custom, equals that. otherwise, we're gonna maybe resolve with undefined. Let's see what happens if we do that. Feels good to get this working, eh? Like, come on. Category applied that way, not cat. Oh, spelled that way. Yeah, category, not cata. Wait, what? Category, not category. Category. Oh, okay. My eyes were about to like I was not trusting my eyes. I was looking for the difference between those two strings. If you're wondering what I'm talking about, it's like here, I'll bring the chat over so you can see. I was today years old when I learned category is spelled that way and not category. I'm like, what is the difference? I'm like, zoom, and then it's like, oh, category. And yeah, that is I definitely made the mistake myself. It's a deceptive word, deceptive spelling. Okay, let's check this out. Oh, gang, I'm so happy about this. We got something. We got something showing up. Yes! Woo! Now it's all about testing and cleaning up and stuff. But I think we have something that we could like begin porting. If I understand correctly, we could begin porting immediately. The existing jump list stuff to this, which might be nice. All right, here we go. I also want to try to like populate the normal tasks, not just the custom ones. Like populate jump list. Oh, this is tasks. Right, tasks. Can't remove those. Also, I should like await so I can see what the results are. What is undefined? Okay. Now what happens if I say populate jump list custom? Hello, everybody. Pending. Crash. All right, what happened there? Assertion failure. In servo style. Delete all favicons and do populate jump list in line 962. I dispatch this runnable to the IO thread. Then I try and get preferences And I try to init preferences on this thread, and that's whenever it fails because it asserts that I'm on the main thread from get ICO cache seconds timeout. So did I start using this off of the main thread and I shouldn't have? What thread does this run on? Event. Now what's interesting is that I instantiate this on the main thread and then execute it on the IO thread, and I think that's where things are going wrong. Like, if I take a look at this implementation, sorry, let's go back to this. The constructor is calling into this thing, and that, I think, needs to run on the main thread. It's this that needs to run off of the main thread, but the construction needs to occur on the main thread, and that's where I'm crashing. Rid of the old icons, delete. So I think we actually need to do this work over here on the main thread. Jump list custom. Okay. Let's try that. We're going to get this showing up. If we can get the... sorry, spaced out there for a second, and I was talking to someone in the background who asked me a question. But if we can get both of these working, I think we're in decent shape. And then I want to start thinking about mocking out the Win32 endpoint for testing. What that entails. Okay. Here we go. Got ourselves our builder. Let's see if we fixed our crash. Hello everybody. Hello world again. We got an empty array. Now I'm going to remove this from the list and see what happens whenever I call this again. I got an NS error failure message. That's interesting. Uncaught. What happens if I try now to tasks? Does tasks work? Tasks works. Custom is now fully broken. So we've got some kind of state left over. What's going wrong? Okay, let's attach a breakpoint and see if we can find where things are falling over again. And then I think I might consider calling it, like calling this a win. Maybe we can, well, maybe not just yet. Maybe there's 18768. I wonder how easy it would be to modify the front end to use the new API just for testing. Okay, let's hit this error. Okay, here we go. URIs to remove. Begin the list. So, did we collect some URIs to remove? We've got no URIs to remove because there was nothing in there. Null and null came out. So that's URIs to remove isn't null, but it is empty. Yeah, they're both. The obj array is null, so that's worth pointing out. That's a null pointer. Try and create this thing. We set it up. Okay. So we've constructed our thingy. Okay, what's HR? Okay, we failed to append the category. Why? That's okay, so let's find out why. Jump list manager, append category. If the call to append category attempts to add an item that is in the removed destinations list retrieved by the call to begin list that initiated the session, if the call to append category attempts to add an item that is in the removed destinations list retrieved by the call to begin list that initiated the session, the call to append category fails. You must call begin list before you call this method. I think we have. I think we did right here. And this was null. It's not in the list. List is displayed. What happens if I like supply some different information? Let's turn these breakpoints off. for example, if I say a different like category name. No, that's not good enough. What about a different title? Ah. That's interesting. And now, what happens if I add some tasks? Oh, we've made an error. We made a mistake, gang. You know something? We have to do it all at once. We can't do this in 2 separate calls. Oh, we have to do it all at the same time. We have to, we need to supply both the custom list and the tasks list in the same go. Okay, let's add that to our to-do list. This is fine. So we got tasks working, but now we need to like update methods so that tasks and custom lists are added in the same method call. So a single populate jump list method, or a single populate method that takes something like tasks, custom title, custom list descriptions, task descriptions, custom title, custom list descriptions. And if we wanted to be really flexible about it, you'd make this be an array of like title, list of descriptions. So you could have multiple like custom sections. Ugh, maybe that is a good idea. We'd need an object to describe that. It's just like a sequence of one of these things, like a custom list description. Okay. And then once we have that, we need to deal with the removal problem. What's going on with that? It's like where I think there was like a removal that we were getting somehow. I removed this and it's like we've been banned from adding that, and I wonder how that works. It's like you're supposed to So their contents are mutually exclusive. Each custom category should be built around a specific scenario that items are not duplicated between them. Categories in a custom jump list shown in the order that they are added, with the most recent items added at the end of the list. If there is insufficient space to show all entries, the last entries in the last list disappear off the screen first. Most important entries should be added first to ensure the best chance of always being shown. Destinations within the category shown in the order they are showed. If any of those calls contains an item in the removed items list, the call to commit list does not clear the removed items list. For the removed items to be list to be cleared, all calls in a session in append category must return successfully. So I think that means that, I think I understand. Let's test that out. I'm going to remove this, Hello World 2. And this should work if I say Hello World, but I remove the 2's. Yeah, then we get the arguments back for some reason. It was the, I guess that's the URL. It's the arguments. And if I do this, I'm going to get foo back again. That should be okay. Again, 2. So it's just like 2 consecutive calls can have the same item in it. If the user did a removal. That's the secret. That's the whole dealio. So I can't do that again, but I could do this one. And it will tell me foo2 was removed. Okay, I think I understand. Let's write that down. Finish the URL removal thing. Basically, 2 consecutive calls to append category cannot if an item was removed via the shell, the next call to append category cannot include that item with the same name. Display name. The next call needs to display something else entirely. Although what happens if I like clear it? Like I've got this. If I go like remove and I go builder delete active list, and then do it again, how will it feel? Yeah, it's okay with that if I deleted the active list. Let's repeat that experiment. Yeah, if I've deleted the list in between, then we don't hit that problem. But like the reason we want this information about what was removed is because we need to, like if the user has expressed, hey, remove this from the list, I don't want to see this anymore, we basically want to forget about this website, not have it show up in this list anymore. I think I understand that that's the sort of the situation here. We need to respect that. Okay, so we've got a way forward here. We're going to transform this next week to do it all in one. We should be able to have both lists appear. We need to finish the removal thing. And then I'm hoping to have enough information on how we could make this testable. And then maybe create jump list items all in one shot. Yeah, that's what this is. I guess I had that. Did I have this discovery in the past? Clear jump list is already done. I can just like, it's called delete active list. And then we can do this part. And then we need to write tests. All right, gang. I think we're going to stop there. Hey, thank you so much for watching episode 313 of The Joy of Coding. I wonder, it's possible that I'm not sure if I'm going to watch the playback of this episode. There may have been periods where I was just kind of going like, and really quiet, and I apologize. I try not to do that. I try to keep prattling on so that you're, hearing my thought process. But this was a really interesting one because I wouldn't say I'm in my comfort zone talking to this thing. I'm learning a lot about Win32. Smurf says, the plan sounds solid. You sound solid, Smurf D. Thank you. You're the greatest. You're the greatest. And we learned some interesting things. That, macro is wild, eh? Like this IID PPV args. That's a fun hack. Well, thank you again for watching episode 313 of The Joy of Coding. Shoot, I've been updating the wrong one. Hang on. Gotta undo. Can I undo? No. I've lost. Alright, I'm gonna have to find the... Is there like a... Oh, man. Alright, well, I'm going to copy this over to here. Version control, am I right? Yeah, we can start tackling this next week. I'll come back into the office, I'll connect to that machine, and we'll tackle these things. In the meantime, offline, I'm going to talk to some Windows experts on how we might try and mock out or test the populate jump list stuff. Again, thank you for watching episode 313 of The Joy of Coding. I hope that was interesting. Let me know what you thought. There's a link at the bottom of the agenda for rating this episode. It's in all the same places where you found the agenda. Go ahead and click on that link and let me know what you thought of this episode. I'd love to hear it. I read everything that comes in. I really appreciate all of the feedback, positive and critical. If there's anything you want to see me do or not do, or do more of or do less of, or stop doing, just let me know. And it's also a great place if you want to ask me questions. I read all the questions that come in. Yeah, note-taking with hard mode. No undo. What is going on? Like Joplin, where's your undo? Let's talk. All right, well, that's it. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have yourselves a great week. I'll see you next week. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
The joy of coding.
See ya.